A tree is like a source of knowledge. A tree holds everything together in nature. A tree is the first technology that was ever created. A tree is everything that we have in terms of shelter and food, because everything comes from the trees, which are the grass that the animals are gonna eat, the the trees that they actually live in. So trees are so important, and they hold everything in place within nature. So what the trees breathe in is what we breathe out. So everything comes out of us, goes into them, and this cycle is the cycle of life. And this is like the infinity number, and everything is just balanced because the oxygen is balancing with the carbon dioxide in the whole atmosphere. So when a person has a tree, what they actually have is what we have as logs, logic or logos. So everything in every study, like biology or any other study, is something that has a logo or a logos or a log, because everything is written with a pen. Everything is written on a tree, which is where we get the papyrus, the paper, which is the African paper that was used was papyrus, the first paper, which had the knowledge of everything that was happening. But before that, or within some of the same periods, the Sumerians were using tablets to write things. So this is where their logic was. But the logic was in the trees. The logos was in the trees. So all of the trees in nature are a natural phenomenon that come from the trees being watered, being heated, and having air, which are the four elements. So every tree has all of the four elements. Every tree has earth, wind, air, and water. So this is Moses and the burning bush. Every tree has light in it, and everything is absorbed by the light, which is the black light. And black is the one that absorbs everything that causes light, and then it also creates light. And white is reflective, it gives out the light. So the green in the chlorophyll of the trees is from the black, because this chlorophyll is the melanin in the trees, in the bark of the trees, which is able to absorb the light, because everything that absorbs light is black. So everything that is green is being absorbed by the light and is being trapped as light. So this is everything green has like trapped sunlight. So all of the green trees and all of the plants have the light that is trapped in them. And when you eat food, what you're actually doing is releasing the light in the food. So everything is like solar powered, because everything comes from the trees, which gets everything from the sun, and the water. The water comes from the sun. So with the trees, it's all important to understand that trees are knowledge. So in the first case, what happened was Adam and Eve were in a place that was full of trees, and they ate from a tree they weren't supposed to eat from, and they got knowledge from a tree. So even to today, trees still give us knowledge. So all of the knowledge that we have is found in that instance of the tree, which gave us wisdom. So the same way that we write on trees is the same way that we get wisdom through being punished. So when we're getting knowledge in school, the the teachers back in the day actually had a stick or a tree that they used to use, and this was something that they used for giving people knowledge, and they could actually hit you with the tree, and then you'd have remembrance of a pain past. So this was the tree, and this is the tree of knowledge, because it came from when they broke the tree in the first place. Because Adam and Eve were self-sustaining, they didn't need anything, but they had everything that they wanted, and they didn't need to break any fruit So the first time when they actually sinned was when they broke the tree. And this is the only thing that they had ever undressed in the garden. So this is what they chose to use as their dress in the garden, because they thought like, all right, this is the first time that we're like undressing this. Because when you look at the tree, they broke it, and then they saw the beauty of all of the trees in the garden, because trees are always in balance and they're always dressed in whatever weather and occasion. So they wanted to dress up just like trees. So you see, when Jesus was talking about not worrying about what you're gonna eat and what you're gonna drink and what you're gonna wear, he said that not even King Solomon was arrayed like any of these flowers, because these trees, these flowers, these bushes, these grasses, these green things, all of these flowers, all of these colors, right, are 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 all dressed in this in their own beauty. So this is why they wanted to dress up like the trees, but they had to dress up like the animals. So trees also harbor animals. So so we get all of our knowledge from trees. So this is also how we also get all of our knowledge from animals. So the animals that live in the trees are the birds. And when someone knows something, they say like, a little birdie told me, because this is the tree. The tree has fruit, the fruit has seeds, and this seed is able to multiply. This seed is able to grow. This seed is able to give more. So so when you have this seed, this tree, this ability to make more, you also have like a matrix, okay? Because this seed creates more seeds. So so when you have the tree, you also have what gives life. You have the animals that live in it. So all of the birds and the bees also live in the trees. So when we're now talking about how we are made, or how we multiply, we also talk about the birds and the bees, which live in the trees. So the trees have the birds, and the birds are the highest things that are in this world. Like they live higher than anybody else. So the birds are high, and the trees harbor these birds, which give us knowledge. So the first animal that was actually tamed was a bird. So when Noah was in the ark with his whole family, what he did was to take a bird, and he let it out. And then when he let it out, it came to him to give him information about what was happening while he was in a tree. The ark was a tree, and this tree was the protection. So the trees also have the ability to walk on water. This is how Jesus is the logos, the logic. He's called the branch. Like he's called a tree. He's called the stump of Jesse, but he's called the branch. God said, I will send my branch, and he shall be the teacher. He is the tree. And through this tree, we also have every family tree, because everyone has a family tree. So everyone traces their ancestry in a family tree. And through the ancestry, we have all of the knowledge, because everything that we have is a heritage. So when you're under the shade of a tree, it's someone else who planted it. This is the knowledge of our ancestors. So this is the branch, and Jesus is that. So this is in the video of the ancestors, which talks about this understanding. So Noah sent out the bird, and then it brought him information from the tree, a twig from the tree. So this is the bird that is giving him information. And this is the first instance we see an animal actually being tamed. The first time we were seeing the animals being named. And when they were named, they were being called. So Adam actually had the ability to tame all the animals. But Noah, the second first man, had the ability to tame the birds. And then when he went out of the ark, what he did was to first of all build an altar, and then he planted a vineyard or another tree. And through this wine, he also got naked, and all of this, and then he had to be covered in another way. But Adam and Eve had to be covered in another way as well, because in the beginning they had the tree. they had the tree as their covering, but then they were given the animal as their covering. So the trees keep the animals, they keep the knowledge. The trees are transformation, because a caterpillar goes into a tree, and this is where it actually gets informed. This is where it actually transforms. All of the trees give us this understanding and this information. So every tree has water. It uses water in order to create energy. This energy is what we breathe in, is what we get in, and what we breathe out is what they get out. So trees actually think, they breathe, they actually have this whole understanding. So trees are so important, and trees are just a part of nature that a lot of people don't really take notice of, or actually understand. Trees give us wisdom. This is how people actually burn trees. And when they have this earth, this weed, they actually have the elements as well, because the smoke was used as something that was as a sacrifice, right? When animals were burnt offerings to God, they were put into the smoke through the trees, so that they can have their transcendence. This is the butterfly. This is the information. So they're sending information to God, and this is the knowledge of Cain and Abel. So when we have trees, what we have is everything and understanding, and our World Wide Web, our actual family tree, everything green, everything that has life. And one thing that is so important is to realize that the righteous are actually literally called trees that are planted by streams of living water. So a righteous person is a tree that is planted by streams of living water, and in everything he does, he prospers. This is a man who is planted, a woman who is planted like a tree, who is rooted, and who is within that grounding. So Adam and Eve actually used trees as their first covering, because they saw that trees are strong, they're beautiful, and everything. And even up to today, we still use trees as our shelter and as our covering, because we use it in our houses, but then we don't use it on our bodies, because trees are like animals that are static. They don't actually move, but then the animals move, and then they use the trees. So these trees are still used because they represent the highest places, the animals which give us information, and the houses that we live in, where we are formed within. This is the butterfly, right? And then they like the birds who live up within the skies. We use the trees just like the birds who live up within the skies. So this is how we use the trees, the material, the matrix. Every house has this type of material, and we use this at the top of the house. This is where the tree is, because the trees give us this ability to use nature. We can use these trees as boats, and as information, as knowledge, as technology, as everything. So the trees are so important. So every tree has such importance and such great value to everyone, because it's a family tree. So the righteous is like a tree that is planted by streams of living water. So this is being fruitful. This is being evergreen. This is the righteous path. Actually being in the correct place, being aligned correctly, being aligned properly. This is to be the tree that is planted by streams of living water, so that in everything that you're doing, it's always fruitful. Like this is what they were told to do. Like, be fruitful and multiply, just like these trees. So to be fruitful is to have the fruit, just like a tree has fruit, and the fruit has seeds within it. So this is to have success. So be successful. So to be successful is to have this ability to multiply your ideas, to actually see them bear fruit. And success is having a successor. So it's to also have the seeds that create more, that give more. So this is the understanding of the information of the trees, because this is actually how, like, people were beaten up in school, right? And you get information like that. And trees are also used for medicine. people use these trees for actual medicine. The roots of the trees are used for food. They're used for herbs, right? They're used for all of that. Trees are also used to school at words as wands, right? And they are used for healing. So when they went to a place with Moses in the wilderness, they saw a place where the water was bitter. And Moses took a log, a logos, a logic, a study, an understanding, or a tree, and he threw it into the water, and the water was cured. The same thing is what we do. We study medicine, biology, chemistry, and all of that, and then we put this stick into a pill, and we put it into the water body of the human, and we see what happens, right? And then they get healed because we are water. So understanding the trees is to understand everything in nature. The information that comes our way is from the trees. Like a little birdie told me. A little birdie told me something. And this is the master of whispers, right? Lord Various was always saying that. So this is all about the understanding of the trees, the nests of the birds, because the birds live in the heavens. This is something that is important, because the birds live in the heavens. So the air is actually the first heavens. This was the firmament that was created. That's the first heavens. And then after that we have the second heavens, which is on top of a mountain. So the birds are in the first heavens, which is just the sky, right? But God, when he came to earth, was not able to come to the first heavens. He went on top of a mountain. This is where he met Abraham. He met Moses. This is where Jesus met those people who had transcended. All right, but then the Holy Spirit came as a bird to him, right, in the first heavens. So this is the gentle spirit. But the God who was on the mountain was so thunderous. So this is the understanding of nature. Nature has this duality. It's very strong. So it's also to know that this tree also hit, right? It also you're hit with a tree like a club. This was how the people used to hunt. The arrows that they use are actually trees. The arrows were just trees. So all of this just came from the soil. So when this was happening, then Moses met God in the mountain. So this is like Mount Zion. This is like a second heaven. This is where God will be. And then there is the outer space, which is a third version, like the third heaven. This is where Elisha was showing his servant. He was showing him the third heaven, where the things are like outer space. It's like he was showing him like aliens and spaceships and stuff, which are in the third heaven, which is in outer space. And then God is in the seventh heaven. So that's 7 times separated from here in perfection. So this is just all of the days in creation and all of that. So all of this is where the trees actually start. So the trees actually represent this height. They are representing a certain limit. This is the height of our world. Like these are the birds, or the eagle. Like there's the ox, there's the angel, there's the eagle, and there's the lion. So all of the eagle lives in the second heaven, right? Under the throne of God, under the throne of God. So it's an interesting thing. So understanding that the trees are so important is to know that everything is just light, and everything is created in this balance. Everything is created in this balance, and everything runs on water. And the trees run on water, and humans run on trees. Animals run on trees, and flesh and of other animals who eat trees. So everything runs on trees. So the trees run on water and sunshine. Water is the earth. Like the thing that they first saw on earth was water. And then God separated the waters, created land and all of that, created heaven and earth. But then heaven and earth was water and water, created firmament in the heavens and the firmament on the earth. So it was just water and water. Water is like that substance that is in the trees that gives us life. So yeah, so understanding that these trees are so important and they are wisdom. Trees are wisdom. Those rings that we have, the rings on a tree, and a tree is also round and it's also square. It's any shape. A tree is so like flexible because it's water. So this is why we use it on a roof of any type of shape, because it's so flexible, so nimble. This is so flexible material that we use it as material. So we use it to create matrices. So these matrices, like the houses and stuff like that, they have stones and they have earth, and trees are earth because they just are earth. Like they just come from the earth, and they come from dust to dust. So trees are so important. And yeah, I can't believe I just spent like 20 minutes talking about trees, but I know that I can talk about trees for like another hour or even 3 hours, because trees are everything and they are our knowledge. So this is the four elements and the understanding of everything. So thank you a lot for watching this. So I'll see you soon, and just take care of nature, and nature will take care of you, because it's just really balanced. It's all balanced in harmony, in peace and tranquility. And the righteous is like a tree planted by streams of living water. The righteous is like a tree that is planted. So be fruitful and multiply.